Hello everyone again, this is Anthony Reeves, and today we're going to talk about some 10 common sense considerations if you find yourself in the position of having to take care of your parents. Number 10, don't be afraid to have the hard conversation. The reality is that if you find yourself in that transitional point in your life where you're having to take care of your family members, you're going to have some very hard conversations. And some of those conversations may involve relocating family members from their homes, whether you're going to move in with them or whether it's going to be a part-time thing, meaning you sometimes look after them and sometimes you don't. In any event, when you get to that point where you have to make that transition, having that hard conversation is not one you may look forward to having. But don't be afraid to have it because it's necessary to make sure everything goes smoother. Number 9, start learning about those relationships and those important documents relating to your parent. The reality is that your family members, whether your parents per se, they have long-standing relationships with various doctors and providers, and you're going to want to know who those persons are. Also, if there is important documents that they have, whether they be mortgages or deeds or car notes or insurance, find out those things early on, so this way you're not in a position where scrambling trying to find out those things after the fact. Number 8, ask your parents what they want. I know this is going to sound silly, but the reality is that this is traumatic for your parents too. They don't want to have to change their life. They're used to being independent. Remember, they used to take care of you. So when you're sitting there making the transitional plan, take a moment, talk to your parents, ask them, what do they want? Are they okay relocating to where you're at? Do they have a preference to stay in their home? Do they have a problem with you moving in with them? Or whether it's one of those things where they'd like for you to be close by, but not necessarily right there and then. All of these things are things you want to ask early on so that you can get an idea of what is your parents' wishes. Number 7, take care to learn the lessons you learn from taking care of your parents for benefit of your kids. Let me be clear. If you're in that point of your life, I would probably say anywhere between, adult age 21 to about 50, 55, maybe 60, depending on the circumstances, or even 70. If you have children, your children might be in the same place that you are one day. I say that to say this, that if you find that you're in that situation where you're having to now think about the things for your parents, remember those lessons so that you can share them with your kids as well. Remember, they are still your parents. I know this is going to sound silly, but the reality is that your parents don't stop being your parents just because they're in a position where they're transitioning from being independent to you taking more proactive care of them. Don't take away from the fact and overlook the fact that they are still your parents. They still view you as the child in certain things. Keep that thought in the back of your mind when you're helping them make decisions for things that are relating to them going forward. Number 5, it takes a village. I know this is going to sound silly, and you've probably heard this before. When I say it takes a village, ultimately what I'm saying is that you have friends who are probably in the exact same situation that you are, where they're taking care of loved ones as well. Take advantage of the experiences that they've had, especially if they're in a situation where they've been dealing with it or been doing the situation a lot longer. This way they can share with you their experiences, and more importantly, they can give you some insight and suggestions for things that you may not have thought about. Number 4, explore every option. The reality is that when you find yourself in that position where you're taking care of your parents, depending on their circumstances, there may be a wealth of opportunities or resources available to you, whether they be state or local, like elder care, or whether they be because they participate in various government programs, whether it be state government or even the VA. Explore all those options. Don't be proud about that because these options are designed to help you. Number 3, explore and use all your resources. Let me be the first to tell you, when I used to practice law, I regularly used to get friends who would contact me about little things, and I was quick to point them in directions of elder lawyers that I knew who did things, estate planning attorneys who solely focus on estate planning, VA benefits, employment law situations. You'd be surprised at the wealth of different things that present themselves where having an expert can be beneficial to you. So I encourage you, if you find yourself in a position where you're trying to figure out what you should do, don't try to figure this out on your own. Use the resources that are available to you. Number 2, the transition may not happen all at once. There's typically 2 types of circumstances that present themselves. There is an acute situation or a chronic situation. Let's talk about both. An acute situation is a situation where there is a traumatic event that occurs, a heart attack, a stroke, auto accident, something that you saw that came out of nowhere that resulted in the individual circumstances changing overnight. But in most cases, in the best case, you have what I call a chronic situation. That means your loved one's health has deteriorated over time to the point where they're not able to take care of themselves in the same manner that they were used to. Those are the ones that you need to be mindful of. And so that when you're noticing this transition, don't wait until it gets so bad where you're now trying to scramble. Start making those moves now. And number one, your parents didn't plan on their children taking care of. Remember, I'm 50 years old. My mom is 70. I don't want to throw her age out there, but she's living very independently. I got a lot of friends who are older than me whose parents are living independently now. Your parents aren't thinking about you in terms of that light. They've raised you so that you can live the life that you want to live and raise your children accordingly, and they're doing their own thing. They're not planning on a life where you need to take care of them. So if you find yourself at this crossroad, do not be surprised. Just keep that thought in your mind that your parents didn't intend on being in this position. It's a natural consequence of life. Roll with it and keep moving accordingly. I hope you found this video to be very helpful. Keep an eye out. As always, give me comments down below, and I hope this was useful to you. Have a wonderful day.